Hey everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's getting close to the end of the trading day here on Friday. It's January 20th, 2023. And we've got, lots going on here in the market today. The S&P 500 has been just printing cash all day long as you have been playing the long game intraday throughout the day here. Bitcoin also had a nice little pop just now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin here. Before I get into any of this, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, and doing your own research. And as always, this is just my opinion on the market. So I'm going to go ahead and move on into the chart. And while I go over there, just keep in mind, if you need access to our Discord, you can find all of the information on BitDoctor.org. And, and on top of that, if you need access to the free chat, that's also in the video description as well. So I'm taking a look at Bitcoin here on the daily. And I want to point out just a couple things here. So Bitcoin obviously has had a big move, and going back to what we had already discussed, when the price action was down here, we talked about all of these liquidity zones. We talked about there was sideways action and there were hunts that were going on. And then we got to that point where things kind of exploded. Okay. And there's just a couple things about this that I think are important to point out. The fact is, this move that we had right here, this big red move that was caused by FTX, right? You need events like this in order to, really create good liquidity for the market for it to actually pivot and move to the upside. And really, we barely, touched that going back down here. And then, of course, what ended up happening, we entered a little bit of a accumulation phase. And again, we've already recapped this, so I'm not going to really get into it too much about this 618 that was down here and the 618 that was up here. And of course, I had said, and I've said many times, that when we get a break of one of these two zones because of the sideways action that we have had, we were in a squeeze back here on the daily. And we had a little bit of volatility, and then we ended up going back into a squeeze again. And in that squeeze, we were increasing. And if we take a look at volume, going back over here, let's take a look at volume here on the daily, back in that zone, we had some indications that we were getting some good buying volume in that. And of course, when we finally do break out, it was going to be significant because we exited that squeeze, and you see we started to exit right here. We had another candle where it was exiting the squeeze, and then we had the black candle, which means that we were about ready to be complete with the exit, and that the big explosive move was going to be coming next. And of course, we had day after day after day of basically 5% after 6% after 5%. We had big moves off of that. So now what? Okay. Well, I think what is safe to assume right now, this structure that we had right here, it actually was a 5-wave move. I don't think that we can count this any other way anymore. And this is more than likely going to be kind of in the form of a leading diagonal of sorts. And then off of that 5-wave move up, we have a big correction down. Okay, so we have a correction down here. And then, this is, you can't take a look at this and tell me this doesn't look like a wave 3. It does look like a wave 3. I mean, looks can be deceiving, but for right now, this looks like, wave 3. And then we had a wave 4 right here. We're going into wave 5. But now, something else that I do want to point out, I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit here. And I actually want to focus on the yellow wave. When was the last time the yellow wave was up almost to the median on the daily time frame? Well, the last time it was up here was all the way back on April 10th of 2022. So on April 10th of 2022, it's right about when Bitcoin had moved up and it started to move down a little bit. And of course, it takes time for some of these things to move down. But we were getting close to a peak, right? A kind of a major peak. So I do have to be a little cautious here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and focus on levels. And what I'm going to do with this chart, I'm going to clear it out completely because this is all history. This is not as important anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear all of the drawings that I've got. I'm going to go basically right back to square one. Looking at this, we have a high here and we have a higher high as long as, and we also have a higher high on the price as well. There's no divergence there. I am not seeing any significant signs of bearish divergence at the moment on the daily time frame. Now, you may be able to, squeak down here into the lower time frames and find something, but on the daily, which is, it should be seen as a stronger source for trends, I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing any significant signs. So we've got our dominant pivot low here, our dominant pivot high right here, and let's get our pullback and just kind of see where we're going to be heading from here. So I'm going to get my template here, and I'm going to get this major template. We already saw the 1618 tap right there. So again, in my opinion, from these lows, we've got a 1, 2, we've got the 3 here, a little 4, and then we go up for wave 5. Now, where's wave 5 going to go? I'm going to put the 2618 on here, see where that lands us. That lands us just shy of 26,000. Now, are we going to go all the way up there? If we do, wave 4, we have to have kind of an expanded flat running here. So if that's the case, probably what we're going to see is the little A, B, C get a little bit of an expanded flat before we see that move, that really what a lot of people are looking for is that big move to the upside. And that's all I've been playing. If you're on our server, you know that I've been buying ICP, I've been buying Doge, I've been buying, we've been playing some moves on Chainlink. We've had some moves on KSM. Let's see here, what else we had to play on Dent, and so on and so forth. And of course, we all know the big play that we had not that long ago. It was just a couple weeks ago on Near. We had 2 fantastic plays on that. So we've been playing long. We've been actively trading the market because it's a fast moving market and there have been a lot of opportunities. So why not take advantage of them? And no, I'm not trying to short the top here on Bitcoin because it does look kind of strong. I'm more into dip buying mode. And of course, following the trend, and I'm not going to talk about the trend too much on the S&P 500. You can go over to my Twitter account and you can see the plays that we have, that we've alerted in the server today. It's been an amazing, amazing day. But now let's just zoom out a little bit here and just see what we have from a support and resistance standpoint that is important to pay attention to. So right where we're at right now, this level here at 21,964, let's just talk about this here for just a moment because, it is prudent to take a look and see what the market is doing in relation to what it had done in the past. We have this low right here, which counted as, pretty significant support. We have resistance that was right here, and we also have more resistance right here. We have more resistance over here. And we did try and poke up above, but it eventually broke down. So we have nice confluence in this area that we should be seeing some significant resistance, at least for the time being. Now, if we break up above that, where's our next level that we're going to go? Well, the next level that is of real importance is going to be, it's actually going to be right here at about 25,331. And what we have in confluence with that 25,331, let's just talk about that here for a moment. There's really going to be just a couple levels. There's this level right here at the bottom, and there's this level right here at the top. These 2 levels are important. So what I want to do, and what you should do, if you're analyzing anything, what you should do is you should zoom out. Because, a lot of people like to take a look at the volume profile, and that, my friends, is something that you should be paying attention to. But in relation to the volume profile, let's take a look at price action history and see what we have at 25,000. So the last time we were at 25,000, or I guess I should say the first time we were at 25,000. Let's focus on that here for just a moment, right back here. All right, so we blew right through it. There's really not a whole lot there from a historical standpoint that would be our significant resistance. But what is significant is going to be this level right here. So this candle closure right here on the daily, which is going to be at about 26,247. That was a candle closure here. That would be on December 27th, 2020. And of course, it has to be the candle open the next day on the 28th. And then we found that as support on the 29th. And then this level right here at 25,842 is also going to be important because that level we had support here and support there. So these levels I think are actually more important than this level, which I'm going to go ahead and change that color to orange because it's not as important. The only importance that level has, zooming out, is going into where we had our spike low down here. But all of these levels that I'm talking about, all three of these levels, are all in confluence with where that 2618 is. So that's going to be a move potentially up to that 25,600 area. And from there, I would expect probably a significant pullback. Now, when you have a bull market in Bitcoin, you have several moments where you have significant pullbacks. I'm going to go to Bitstamp because I want you to take a look at this. Now, this is something that we experienced. I experienced this, and this kind of thing happens in crypto frequently. All right, so I'm going to go all the way back here to where we had basically, the bottom here, and we had the nice big green candle on April 2nd. I just kind of had a little blasty from the pasty on our Discord late last night, just kind of looking at, this right here. This was significant. It was pretty awesome. And I happened to not be long here, but things looked very strong. So I did have a long from about 5,000. And I kept increasing my stops, and I eventually increased my stop to about 6,400. And I was holding on to this. I was bound and determined to hold on to this position for months. And again, I was long from about 5,000. It might have been 5,200, but it was in the low 5,000s. And I kept increasing my stops. When we got this move up here, I increased my stop right here. When we got this move up here, I increased my stop to 6,400, which was basically where this candle was at. And then you can see what happened right here. We had a big move down, and it happened very, very fast. Within 2 days, Bitcoin dropped 26% in value. Now, that is the kind of thing that I really kind of do expect to happen. So just be prepared because, that is potentially what is going to happen. Now, again, I do think that at some point we're probably going to come back down and retest maybe 20,000, 20,500. I really want to see that move down to about 19.4, but that may wait until we get this move up here. So really what I'm thinking is more than likely going to happen. So we had this move here. We had our maybe an A, a B, and then we come down for the C here. And then we see that move go all the way up there to that 2618, again at about 25,500. And remember, when we had the big move up on Bitcoin, it happened over the weekend after hours on Friday. And if anybody was around in 2017, you remember that 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays is when Bitcoin made significant moves. So that was several years ago. It was a long time ago. But nonetheless, pay attention to that because the cycles, have been occurring. And again, the big moves did happen over the weekend back in December of 2017. So that may be what occurs here as well. Right now, the daily looks pretty strong. And the yellow wave on the daily looks pretty strong. I don't see any reason to take on additional short risk on Bitcoin right now. I'm not going to talk about liquidations. I'm not going to talk about short squeezes or anything like that right now. What I'm going to be focusing on is what this path is going to be taking us to. And right now, we had a little move up and a pullback. We had a big move up into the 1618. We're above the 175, which means our next target really is going to be that 2618. Now, it's going to be choppy. It's not going to go straight there. And to be quite honest, it might not even get there, but things are still looking fairly decent for the time being. And on the daily, we're getting a cross on the red wave. And that's, again, that's something that we should all be, paying attention to, especially if you're using the Wave Master indicator. Right now, the green wave is in the bullish control zone. The yellow wave is in the neutral zone, but it is fully erect, continuing to just head straight up. So I'm not interested in shorting Bitcoin right now. I'm going to continue to be interested in taking the trades that I've been taking, which are long positions. All right, so enough about Bitcoin. I want to talk about dominance, and I want to talk about two different portions of dominance, okay? Because this is so important. Bitcoin dominance. I'm going to go to, I'll go ahead and keep it here on the daily for right now. I've been talking for weeks, maybe even longer, about the fact that Bitcoin dominance is going to be increasing, and alts may increase in US dollar value, but if you compare them to Bitcoin, the majority of them are going to increase not as much as Bitcoin is increasing. Now, Bitcoin dominance, to be fair, does look like it wants to pull back a little bit. If you take a look at the green wave and the yellow wave, they're both in overbought right now. Again, you still have that, that cross on the red wave that is down, way down in oversold right now. But the green wave and the yellow wave are in overbought. So to be fair, it does look like we may get a little bit of a pullback here, which means alts might have a little bit of relief. But there are some strong alts out there right now. So just be very careful trying to short things right now. Because when Bitcoin increases, unless you're shorting an altcoin versus the Bitcoin pair, you're probably not making a pretty educated bet there. Everything is all about probability. Everything is all about statistics. And right now, the statistics are basically saying that, we're in a pretty strong uptrend here. And this is going to be evidenced by the dominance in Tether, which, again, if you're not following me on TradingView, I have been very clear, very upfront about what I'm about to show you here on Tether dominance. So Tether dominance has, we're basically playing out a bump and run reversal on Tether. And again, this is also something I have been talking about. I have been clamoring about this. Tether dominance is decreasing. It was on an exponential rise, as I've evidenced here. There's a trend line here, 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 and there, and it broke down. And it was after we had a lower slope, where we had here, 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 and here. This was sort of the intersect where Tether started to go parabolic to a degree, right? And it happened to be November 8th, 2021, when Bitcoin was, at a major high. And Bitcoin had a major pivot to the downside when this happened. Tether started going nuts, right? Everything was moving out of crypto into Tether. Now, that's all history. Now we're taking a look at where the market is at now and what is happening to this. If we go down and we drill down a little bit, say we go down to an hourly time frame, basically we just sort of played through a little correction right here. Yeah, certainly it did look like things were going to start moving up, but they just rolled over this support level here at about 7% dominance. It just broke, and it's gone down 2.14%. It's hard for me to say it's gone down 2.14% because the dominance itself hasn't dropped 2%, but Tether's dominance has dropped that 2%. But nonetheless, it does look like it's going to continue moving down for the time being. And as I mention, the fact that if Bitcoin is going to be increasing in value, as it currently is, right? Bitcoin's increasing in value. It's above 22,000 right now. As Bitcoin is increasing in value, your altcoins probably are too, right? So let's just go ahead and take a look. Ethereum versus the dollar, right? Yes, it is going up. In the last hour, Ethereum is up 2.3%. Bitcoin in the last hour is up 2.81%, which means Ethereum versus Bitcoin is decreasing in value. or at least it has decreased, a little bit here, right? So you're losing Bitcoin. And it really depends on what your financial strategies are, what your trading strategies are, what your goals are here. But most of us are here to increase either Bitcoin or increase dollars. And right now, Bitcoin is taking over to a certain degree. There are some alts out there that are pretty strong, and you have to be careful for those. I was taking a look at a couple. I'm not going to mention too many of them here, but I mean, Chainlink has been pretty strong. And what's it doing right now? It's pulling back, right? So Chainlink versus Bitcoin, just kind of taking a look at the history here, it's not that great, right? Let's take a look at Cardano. What is Cardano doing versus Bitcoin? It's staging a little bit of a pullback as well. We would all love to see, myself included, I would love to see what happened back here on this move back at the beginning of January, on January 8th. Just kind of an explosive move where Cardano increased 20%. So if Bitcoin didn't move at all, Cardano would have gone up 20% in value, both versus Bitcoin and versus US dollar. So there's a trifecta that's going on here. And the reason why the dominant symbols are available for us to analyze, they're there so that you can make educated decisions on, on your trading, educated decisions on where the market is going. And Cardano versus Bitcoin is in a little bit of the start of a potential uptrend here. We've got some support right here at about 1600 sats. And, if it breaks down below that, probably going to come back down here to, maybe 1594. But right now we've got a little bit of support right here where we're at. And again, it's about 1620. Zooming out here, if we do break down below this, probably we're going to come all the way back down here to 1450. Now, of course, I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Is there evidence that we could be finding a bottom here? I mean, these are the kinds of things that you should be paying attention to. We're basically finding resistance at the 618. So where's the 786? 786 is down there at about 1554. And is there any confluence with 1554 that says that, we might find a bottom there? Well, from a support and resistance standpoint, this level right here at 1570 is probably the most important on Cardano. But again, when you take a look at Bitcoin, you've got to pay attention to several factors. We're now at 22,165. We've increased since I've started this video, which I started 22 minutes ago. Right, we were back here at below 22,000, and now we've increased, and we are continuing to increase. And so far, it doesn't show signs of of really slowing down. Right now, we are moving up. We're coiling, and then we're moving up more, and we're currently coiling. So again, be careful. Try not to make super drastic decisions with your trading. And that's really all that I've got. I went on for about 20 minutes longer than I wanted to here, but I just wanted to to kind of get the word out that Bitcoin does look pretty strong, and we are going into a weekend. And last weekend is when Bitcoin decided to do the thing, right? So last Friday was Friday the 13th, and that was this day right here, right, where Bitcoin had moved up in the days leading into it. But then on the end of the 13th, right, so here's the end of the 13th going into the 14th, Bitcoin had a nice 10% move. And then all week, this week, it's just kind of moved sideways. And I saw some frothy bears out here looking to short that move. Well, I didn't want to short it. I was looking to long, more, right? I am long on a few different alts. And I was looking to buy more on a deeper pullback because, to be fair, I was expecting maybe like an A, B, and a C to come back down here, maybe retest that 20,000 mark. Didn't happen, right? But I did get a little bit of a bite back here. And, I've been sort of holding on to that. And here we are, end of the week. The day is basically over, right? We have 9 minutes left in the New York Stock Exchange, and big move up here. So what's going to happen this weekend? I mean, gosh, this was at 4:15 last Friday, and this was at basically the beginning of the day. So this was the New York Stock Exchange trading the trading session last Friday. And basically, if we want to take a look at that and compare, this right here is the New York Stock Exchange trading time this weekend or this Friday. So, just kind of take it for what it's worth. From an indicator standpoint, when we were back here, all of the indicators were all overbought. And right now, we only have the green and the yellow that are in overbought right now. The white and the red, they're still over. They're still heading up into that overbought territory, but they're not there yet. They're still in the neutral zone. So there are cases that can be made that we might have more volatility going into this weekend. But I'm going to continue to be long. And again, I've been long since, down here in these areas that are well below 21,000. So, I've got lots of wiggle room with a lot of the positions that I've got. But, the long game has been the game to play. And again, if you're not a breakout trader, that's okay. But, we did very well with that in the stock market. And, Bitcoin did stage a nice breakout trade here. If you take a look on the 15-minute time frame. So if you're curious on how I play options, we had a high here and we were trying to poke through this area right here. We had a little bit of a poke here. We had another poke here, but we finally closed a candle right here. And this was at 11:15, 11:30 this morning. And on that breakout, we had a bigger move up, some coiling, and then boom, out of nowhere, there it comes. And it really did come out of nowhere. The volume came out of nowhere. So if I go back here, go to a 15-minute time frame, let's just take a look at the volume here, right? It was a little bit of volume here, a little bit of volume here, and then all of a sudden, boom, tons and tons of volume. Here, boom, tons and tons of volume. So there are significant positions that are likely being liquidated. I'm not paying too much attention to those right now, but more than likely they are. Things are starting to show, warning on lower time frames, but guys, the higher time frames, they look fine. If I go to an hourly, we've got, all of our moving averages, all of the major moving averages that we pay attention to, they look fine. Let me get the 21 exponential on here as well. So taking a look at that, the 21 is above the 55. The 55 is above the 100. The 100 is above the 200, right? If we go to, say, a 4-hour time frame here, we found that support there at the 21 exponential. That 21 exponential, that is key. And all of the moving averages are in a bullish formation. Going to a daily, what does the daily look like? Well, we are getting very, very close to getting a bullish cross of the 55 and the 100. Now, when was the last time the 55 got to the 100? I mean, the last time it was this close was all the way back here. So that 55 got close to the 100 right here, but we rolled over before it happened. And guys, that does tend to happen. When the 55 gets close to the 100, you start to get a lot of people that are very, very bullish that are saying that Bitcoin is going to break out and explode from there. But what a lot of people fail to remember is there are two key words when it comes to trading and charting, and that is mean reversion. Reversion to the mean. And that's exactly what happened here. We had this big move up, and then we had the mean reversion that took us right back down here, back down to the 100, back down to the 55. There was no cross back then. Bitcoin on the daily, the 55 hasn't been above the 100 since all the way back here in December of 2021, right? Watch the moving averages and just see how they play out. Because right now, yes, the 21 did cross above that 55. That is bullish. The 21 crossed above the 100. That is bullish. That 55 needs to get above the 100. And then we need to see mean reversion for that to come back, right? So for this to come back down here, now remember, this 100, this is moving at this particular trajectory, and this is moving currently at this trajectory. So we only have, 2 days, 3 days before these two are going to cross. But this is more than likely going to come and retest at least the 55, and I'd love to see it retest the 100, and that's going to take me down to where I've been wanting to buy, and that's going to be at about 19,500, 19,400. Again, mean reversion, watch for mean reversion. We're likely going to get that move down. It will not be a move down to new lows. I can't guarantee you that, but I can almost guarantee that we are not going to see new lows anytime soon. There will be a point in time where Bitcoin's going to have a crazy, crazy crash. But for right now, this looks healthy. It looks strong. We had a liquidation event, which I fully documented, right? We had a liquidation event, and we've continued moving up. We haven't pivoted from that. We've continued to increase in value. Bitcoin is up 5.5% just today. And there's no reason to miss out on those moves. There's no reason to miss out on that. And if you are missing out on that, you know where to find me. All the information is on bitdoctor.org. There is a link in the video description to get access to the Discord. If you want to access our membership where I share my trades, you can get that information on bitdoctor.org. We had crazy, crazy moves today in the stock market where we had a trade where we got 627% on SPX calls, another one 345%, another one 112%. We got some calls on NVIDIA, 50%, another one 198%. We just completely dominated the market today with our short-term trades, which, you have to be in it to win it. If you need access, if you know where to find me, you can access all the information on bitdoctor.org. And last but not least, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.